So Disney's new movie, Raya and the Last Dragon, came out, and I have a lot of thoughts. Hello, and welcome to Mad's Tea Party, the channel run by a girl who does not drink tea. Today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Disney movie, Raya and the Last Dragon. I've divided this video up into two parts. The first part is going to be spoiler-free, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, feel free to watch. When I'm getting ready to bring in spoilers for the second part, I'll let you know so you'll have a chance to click off if you don't want any spoilers for the movie. So this movie currently has a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty impressive, but I was able to see the movie and I'm here with my own personal opinion of it. Of course, this isn't the end all be all. If you didn't like the movie, then I'm sorry. But I personally loved it. I thought it was amazing. And it was probably one of the best Disney movies that I've seen in a very long time. Everyone was saying that this movie was an instant classic on the level of Frozen or Moana, but I disagree. It was much better than Moana. I need to make a whole separate video on Moana because I like it okay, but I think it leans on the music as a crutch. There's really no plot to that movie. But this video is about Raya and the Last Dragon, not Moana. I could attack Moana all day, but today I'm gonna praise my girl Raya. So Raya and the Last Dragon, unlike most Disney movies, is not a musical. It's just a simple adventure story with a lot of world building and excellent characters thrown in. So here's the premise from Disney. Long ago, in the fantasy world of Kumandra, humans and dragons lived together in harmony. However, when sinister monsters known as the Droon threatened the land, the dragons sacrificed themselves to save humanity. Now, 500 years later, those same monsters have returned, and it's up to a lone warrior to track down the last dragon and stop the Droon for good. So it's a super simple plot. She's on a scavenger hunt to save her kingdom, but it's really effective. And I feel like everything that was in this movie needed to be there. I didn't really feel like this was a movie where things were in there unnecessarily. Because at the surface level, you have your standard adventure story, save the kingdom type thing. But underneath it, you have a story about trust and believing in others. And I think that's really nice. And on top of all of that, it's set in this beautiful world that's exotic and unique and individual. I would love to see more about this world, honestly, because it seems like there's so many more stories to be told within the context of the universe that this movie's set in that I would love to hear. On top of the world being very well developed, all of the characters were also developed. Their motives were very clear. They made sense. I think that is surprisingly rare in a lot of media. A lot of movies just don't have plots or their characters don't have personalities, but this film was an exception. Every character served a purpose, every character had drive and motivation, and I really appreciate a well-crafted story with well-crafted characters. Even the cute sidekick Tuk Tuk was there for a reason. He was helpful. Honestly, other movies could take a few hints. On top of this just being a fantastic film in and of itself, we also have tons and tons of Asian representation. Almost every character in this film was of Asian descent, and the voice cast was also almost of Asian descent. We love diversity in movies, especially good movies. Speaking of the voice cast, they were fantastic. The script was also witty and clever, and there were a few laugh out loud moments. I saw this movie in the theater, and just hearing people laugh again in a movie theater was magical in and of itself. There was not a single fart joke in this movie, so let's give it up for Disney. They finally did it. Not that Disney is the primary offender in this case. I'm looking at you, Illumination. Stop with the fart jokes. Nobody thinks they're funny. The animation was also crafted flawlessly. The settings and characters all looked so unique. And they were really creative too. The world that they were in was colorful and interesting, and they did a really good job of using that through animation. The score for the movie was sweeping, it was wonderful, and I love a good movie score, so thank you, Raya and the Last Dragon. I already said this, but this movie is not a musical, and that's interesting because Disney usually makes musicals. Generally, I think, especially for the Disney princesses, it makes them more profitable. This movie, however, I feel like it didn't really make sense. If it would have been a musical, it would have messed up the pacing entirely, and the pacing for this movie was actually really good. There was only one instance in this film that I was like, okay, hurry up. And it was at the very beginning. It was the prologue, which lasted like 20 minutes. I'm glad that it was not a musical, even though that would have been freaking awesome. There's like a lawnmower outside, so if you can hear that, I apologize. Shut up. Also, there was a short that played before this movie, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was adorable as well, so definitely look up whatever that was called and watch it too, because I really liked it. Overall, I walked out of the movie theater very impressed with this movie. I felt like it was better than a lot of the stuff that Disney's been doing in recent history. It was an original story, and I love that. And I really hope that they make Raya an official Disney princess because she deserves it. I also hope that they introduce her as a park character one day when they bring back meet and greets because I want to meet Raya. She would be so interesting to meet. So far, the movie hasn't done so great financially. To be fair, nothing really has in the past year, but this movie's no exception. It hasn't made as much as I think Disney was hoping to make, so that could possibly affect chances of Raya becoming an official Disney princess, of her getting a sequel, anything like that, which stinks because this movie was great and I really want more content from this world. Of course, if they have a story to tell, but usually I don't feel like there's more to tell. Like with Frozen, going into Frozen 2, I was like, I have no idea where they're going with this because the world of Frozen felt so complete. I didn't really want a sequel. I didn't need one. I love Frozen 2. I think it's a good movie, but I think Raya and the Last Dragon established a world that so many stories could play out in, and I would love to see more of. So that's it for my spoiler-free section. I'm about to go into the spoiler section, so if you're heading out now, you don't want to be spoiled, thanks for watching, and I'm going to start talking about spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, there's a narration. I usually don't like info dumps. I'm a show don't tell kind of gal, but in this instance, I feel like it was necessary. I don't really think that the backstory could be explained through a show don't tell, especially considering the emotional beats later in the story with the backstory with Sisu and how she was the one that was handed the gem, and it could have been any of them, but it was her. I feel like if they showed that in the beginning, that would have been really weird. That would have been a giveaway. That would have been strange. I don't know, maybe it would have worked, but in this case, I'm gonna give them a pass for the telling. So I've been praising Raya a lot, because I think she's cool, but she does have some flaws. Of course, I think these were written into the story. The writers of the film are aware of her flaws. I just think it's interesting to bring them up for her as a character, because a lot of Disney princesses and Disney heroines don't really show a lot of weaknesses, but Raya had them, which made her feel more real. But for her, of course, she had her trust issues, but then also she blames Namari for literally everything. And I'm not saying that Namari didn't contribute heavily, but she doesn't feel any guilt for anything that happens. She just goes straight into attack mode on Namari. And at the end, after Sisu dies, Namari says, well, this is just as much your fault as it is mine. And she's correct. But the first time that the whole Droon gets released on the kingdom, Raya feels no guilt. She's just like, I trusted someone I shouldn't have, but she's garbage. And I mean, she's right, but she doesn't feel any guilt. She's not trying to get her dad back because it's her fault that her dad is dead in the first place. She's trying to get her dad back because she misses her dad. And I think that's weird. Even though she didn't attack anyone, and even though it was kind of a setup, you can blame Namari for that. But I feel like a normal person would have guilt. She may have it, that may have been an intention, but it wasn't clear in the way that it was presented. I didn't really feel like Raya regretted anything that she did besides trusting Namari. And it took her 6 years to track down all of these rivers. We don't know what happened in those 6 years. She could have grieved. We don't know what else she did besides look at rivers. But given how fast this adventure took, I don't think it took her all 6 years to track down the rivers. I don't know what she was doing for all that time. We'll never know. I like that she is a strong female character, though. I think she's a smart character. She's really clever and she's determined. She's a fighter. There's a reason for her to be a fighter. She was a protector of the Dragon Stone, so she doesn't just have these combat skills for no reason. Every personality trait that she has, every skill that she has a reason to know them. The reason that her fruit jerky is bad is because she was never trained in doing that. The reason that she's good in fighting is because she was trained in doing that. I like that she actually has to work for what she gets. She also doesn't have a prince, which in this case I think is appropriate. I don't really think that there was room in the story for a romantic interest. It would have been nice, I guess, because I'm a sucker for a romance, but I don't think it was necessary here. So I'm glad that she was able to find her own story on her own. Also, speaking of strong female characters, the 3 main characters of this movie, Raya, Sisu, and Namari, all females, all girls, and there was no question about it either. Lots of characters were female in this movie that didn't necessarily have to be female, but they just were, and I appreciate that. And it was done in a tasteful way. There's been some media that's like, I'm a strong female woman, and I'm a woman, and I'm strong. But this is just like, yeah, she's a woman and she's strong and it's cool. It wasn't shoved down your throat. She just was. And that's the kind of content that I personally like, because it shows that you don't have to brand yourself as a strong female to be a strong female. You just do it. That's also a much better role model for girls, young girls, who can see someone who's actually strong in a position of power, as a warrior, a princess. I don't know, I feel like it's a lot better. So Raya loses her dad, and then she spends 6 years trying to find Sisu. I've already covered this. We don't know what's happened during those 6 years. I also want to know what happened to Heart, because that's the only tribe that we don't know what happened to them after everything was unleashed. Are they okay? Are they not okay? Obviously there was some destruction, but we don't know what happened. She got shoved off a bridge and the next thing you know, she's in the desert. So I don't know what happened to Heart. I'm a little curious, but I guess it doesn't matter. So she goes to every river ending in the whole kingdom, and the very last one she goes to is the one with Sisu in it. What bad luck. She spent 6 years going to every freaking river, and the very last one was the one with the dragon. She could have just started there, and then it would have been over so much faster. But that would have been different, because 6 years, a lot of people died, and a lot of people were weakened, and a lot of people were willing to help her that wouldn't have done that otherwise. So it would have been more of a fight, and she could have possibly not survived if it had been sooner. However, I doubt Namari would have been after her, so that would have been interesting. A movie without Namari. So Sisu comes back, and she's awesome. She's hilarious. I want to hug her fur. It looks so soft. I just want to pet her. And they go to find the gems. So I only remember 2 of the tribe names, Heart and Spine. The others, I don't remember. Maybe they should have been more memorable, but the actual tribes themselves, like what the land looked like and what happened in those tribe areas, were very distinguishable. So I'm just gonna refer to them based on like the desert, the town on the water. I don't remember the names of them. Oops. So they find the leader of the desert world, but she is dead. She's a skeleton. She was trapped by her own traps, ironically, and now she is dead, which is weird. I feel like she would have had guards or something. Also, this movie had a lot of bodies and a lot of dark concepts for a Disney movie. So, congrats, Disney. You made a movie for adults that's also appropriate for kids. Maybe that's why I liked it. And Raya somehow knows exactly where the gyms are. Every time she goes to a new tribe, either this world is a lot smaller than I thought, in which case, why'd you spend 6 years searching for rivers, Raya? Or she's just really lucky. Also, at the end of the movie, we discover that Sisu wasn't necessary at all. So she literally spent 6 years of her life on a wild goose chase, basically. If she had just gotten all the stone pieces, then all could have been well, I guess. And would the dragons have come back then too? Yeah, she literally spent 6 years of her life on a wild goose chase. That sucks. So they get on the boat of the little kid who I loved. He was adorable, and he has a really sad backstory. And I don't know, that like broke my heart a little bit. I felt for this little kid. So Sisu says she's a strong swimmer, and then she like pushes the boat away. I expected the strong swimmer thing to be a more serious foreshadowing thing when she says I'm a really strong swimmer, but no, that was all we got. But honestly, at least it paid off at all. So they go to the second world, the one on the water. We learn that they've been adapting to the Droon because they literally live on a city of water, and the Droon are afraid of water, which is interesting, I guess, because you learn that the one that Namari's from made a moat to stay safe, and then the others just died, I guess. You don't see anyone in the desert world, so I assume that they're all dead. And then obviously in Spine, they're literally all dead except for the one guy. We don't know what happened to Heart, but I'm assuming they're dead too. So in the second world, we find this Khan baby. And to be honest, I didn't like this baby. I get the point of it. The thought of it was there. I just did not like her. I thought it was far-fetched and it was annoying. It's a kid's movie, so she wasn't the most annoying side character I've ever seen, and you feel for her a little bit, but it's a literal baby. I don't know what's up with sentient babies in media, but they gotta go. I'm sorry. I can't deal with sentient babies. Just make them adults. And then Raya gets up to the place where the leader's supposed to be, and he's dead too, but he doesn't have the stone. At first, I thought that the stone was just killing everyone who possessed it. I thought that it was something like, you know, if you're possessing a piece of the stone, it's somehow tainted and it's gonna kill you over time. It wasn't even a plot point. It just felt like it should have been, because otherwise there was no reason for him to be dead. So now they're in Spine and everyone here is dead except for this one guy, which I don't really know how he survived. Everyone else died, literally everyone else. You'd think the Droon would have gotten him too. He survived somehow. Don't know how, but I would like to know. So then Sisu shows herself to Namari, which I really like because it shows that no matter what their motivation is, they're always going to be loyal to the dragons. I like that nobody's mean to the dragons. I'm so sick of animals always like, people are stepping on the animals. People are working with animals in this universe. Put it in Animal Kingdom, Disney. They probably will. But I'll take it. So they go to Fang, and Namari wants to help them, but her mom says no because they have to be the ones to bring everyone back because people blame them for causing the problem in the first place. Which is fair, I guess, but they all kind of attacked, so I don't know, again, why is everyone blaming them? And I don't really see how that would change many opinions, like, yay, you ruined our lives for 6 years, thanks for fixing it. So Raya and Sisu pull up, and Namari's there, And then they literally kill Sisu, which I did not see coming. When that happened, I was so shocked. And I didn't expect her to stay dead. I knew that she was going to get brought back somehow because it's a Disney movie and fake out deaths are kind of a trope. But I did not expect that to happen at all. At all. I was shocked. Especially because why did Namari even point the crossbow at Sisu? There was no point. Of course she trusted Sisu. She wasn't going to hurt her. Why did she point it at her in the first place? I'm confused about that. So Sisu dies. And instead of just finishing the mission and bringing everyone back, like she could have done, she decides, nah, forget all the dead people. I just want to beat up Namari. So she leaves just to fight someone, and literally all the other characters are like, Raya, what are you doing? It still has magic left in it for a few minutes. There's still hope we can try to fix this. And she's like, no, I just want to beat up Namari. Like, Raya, girl, you just spent the last 6 years of your life doing on this mission, and you're just gonna give up at the last second just because you want to punch someone? Also, speaking of fights and punches, none of them ever had injuries from these fights. Raya walks away every time, even the one that Namari was kicking her butt. Because, I mean, plot convenience, and of course it's a PG movie, so she's not gonna get too injured or anything, but like, she can be bruised. Give her a little bruise or something. Nobody gets beaten up that bad and has nothing. So in the end, they all trust Namari to bring back the world. She considers running away, but then she comes back and decides to do the right thing. Which I don't know why she would really run away, because it's kind of assumed that pretty much everybody is dead. At this point, if we're assuming Heart didn't adapt, Spine didn't adapt, the one in the desert didn't adapt. Everyone's dead there too. Now Fang is dead. The only one that's remaining is the city on the water. That's it. Disney fake out death. They fake out literally everyone. Everyone dies. And then they all get brought back. I was really convinced that they were finally just gonna kill everyone off. Just kidding. I knew that it was gonna be fine. I'm getting kind of tired of this trope. It could have been done better. This movie avoided a lot of tropes, but that one it did not avoid, and it leaned into in the most extreme possible way. Because not only is it just like, the princess is dead, the side character's dead, they're brought back. No, it's literally everyone. Every single character. And that's a lot. Also, why did Sisu die the first time the gym was created? Because no one died this time. You'd think that Namari would die, because she was the one who put it together. But she didn't. So why did Sisu die? And how did the dragons come back this time? What was different about this time? Because the people were united before. So, and if it's bred from people fighting the Droon, then why did it pop up in the first place ever? If they were all united under the dragons. I don't know what's going on, but I would like some answers. And I'm sure there are answers, I just don't know them. So they resurrect Sisu, which at this point I was starting to doubt, but they did resurrect her, which makes me question if dragons are immortal. Maybe they are. That'd be cool. Again, more questions. But yeah, they brought her back, which was fine. I liked her. She was a really cool character, so I'll take it. And she wasn't mad at Raya or Namari for literally murdering her. But I don't know. I guess she's just happy that the day was saved. So there were a few plot holes, but overall it was really enjoyable. It was a long Disney movie, almost 2 hours, but I think it was worth it. I would definitely watch it again. The only thing that I'm worried about with this movie is that since it's not a musical, and since it was a little bit darker, I don't really think it's going to appeal to kids very much. I don't think it's going to stick around in the mainstream as much as it deserves to. I think it's going to fall by the wayside under the Big Hero 6 kind of umbrella of non-musical Disney movies that are really good but get pushed to the side because they don't appeal to kids as much and they're not musicals. They can't sing to the songs in the car, that kind of thing. So I hate that for this movie because it's so good, but I don't think that it's going to get the success among audiences that it deserves. I hope this is still one of my favorite Disney movies in 5 years from now, because it deserves to be. So that's all I've got for now. Thanks for listening to me rant about Raya and the Last Dragon for however long this video has been. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep talking about whatever I want. If you like the video, share it with a friend, or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, bye!